Приветствую, дети! Я знаю, что вы, может быть, сейчас не здесь вместе со мной, здесь в церкви, но вы дома сидите, может быть, смотрите. То давайте мы сейчас встанем, перед тем, как у нас будет урок, мы встанем для молитвы. Помолимся. Господь, я славлю, благодарю Тебя за то, что мы могли здесь собраться, что Ты нам даешь возможность общаться, что Ты, Господь, нам даешь еще время учить Твое Слово. Прошу Тебя, благослови нас через этот урок, чтобы Ты благословил тех, кто будет слушать, наполни нас Духом Твоим Святым, благослови меня, как учителя, и детей, чтобы мы могли учиться Тебя. Тебе слава за все, мой Бог. Аминь. Хорошо. Дети, можете садиться где хотите. Садитесь, где вам удобно. Может, садитесь на пол, где вы хотите. Садитесь, может быть, на кровать, за стол, где вам удобно. И мы сейчас будем тогда проводить наш урок. Перед тем, как мы начнем проводить урок, я хотел, чтобы мы сначала посмотрели на тот урок, который был в прошлый раз. Дядя Сергей проводил урок, который был в прошлое воскресенье. И этот урок был о Пасхе. Что такая Пасха? Что за праздник Пасхи? Для чего мы его празднуем? Я хотел чуть-чуть повторить, о чем этот праздник. Каждый из нас, он достоин наказания от Бога. Почему? Вот каждый из нас, вот ты, например, смотришь, и ты когда-нибудь, может быть, не был послушным своим родителям. Ты, может быть, что-то брал, что не твое, когда ты был младше, или даже вот недавно ты брал то, что не было твоим. Или ты не был послушным своим родителям, когда они тебе говорили, вот взять и убрать в комнате, или что-то сделать на улице, и ты не был послушным. И в Божьих глазах это очень и очень серьезно. Например, если вы не будете слушаться своих родителей, родители должны вас наказать. И это будет правильно, что они вас накажут. И у Бога то же самое правило. Чтобы вы были наказаны, Бог вас должен наказать, потому что вы приступили Его закон. Вы не были послушным своим родителям. Вы, может быть, когда-нибудь обманывали. You cheated before, you didn't follow His commands. And because of that, God has to punish you. And His place of punishment is called hell. It's very, very serious topic. And you guys don't want to end up in hell. I know that. You don't want to. And this is amazing. This is the story. Jesus loves you so much. He came into this world. That's when we celebrate Christmas. But He came into this world, lived a perfect, sinless life, and He died on the cross a horrible death. He did that so He can take your fine. He can take your payment of sin upon Himself. Each one of you guys, you deserve hell from God. But Jesus stepped in. He went on the cross where each one of you guys were supposed to be. And He died in place of you so you can be saved. And that's why we celebrate Easter. Easter is when Jesus Christ rose on the third day from the grave. На третий день Он воскрес, чтобы оправдать. Because if Jesus wouldn't rise from the dead, then, well, it doesn't make sense. He has to defeat death, our ultimate our biggest enemy is death. And because Jesus rose from the dead, that is the main and most greatest message ever. So, I ask you students, please remember this. Remember this message. And your homework, дядя Сергей говорил, чтобы вы рассказали эту историю о Пасхе другим, кому-то другому. Может быть, это to your friend, maybe your neighbor, or maybe your mom or dad. And I believe you guys did that. And I thank you guys who did it. And those who didn't, you still have a chance to do it. This is the greatest message of all. Go and tell other people about it. It's awesome. And then you're supposed to draw a picture and maybe tell someone else again about Easter. You did that. So hope you guys all did that, and I believe you guys did that. So before we get to our lesson today, I want to just say a few things. Today's lesson is going to be something you guys probably learned before. Это будет урок, который вы уже почти все наизусть знаете. Это знакомый для вас урок. Вы уже на собрании его много раз слышали. And you're probably watching, you're going to be like, okay, this is boring. I don't want to watch this. But I'm asking you, please, this is what I want you to do. Through this lesson, I want you to watch and learn something that you've never learned before. Through this lesson, try to open your heart so God can speak to you in a way He's never spoken to you. So you can learn something you've never learned. And to do that, you have to open your heart and be ready to listen. Okay? Hope you guys sit down comfortably. Maybe it's on the floor, on the кровать, and get ready. Okay, this is a story again you've heard before. This is where it happened before. This is the place where it happened. It's Egypt. This is a map of Egypt I drew on the board. And в Египте была одна семья. Одна семья, I think it was around 70 people lived in this country within all the other people. So, let me pick up my marker. So, this whole country, they had a small family. And I'm going to draw it over here. They were called Jews. I'm going to make a circle to represent the family, okay? This family, I'm guessing, was about 70 people lived in this family. And over time, this family started to grow and grow and grow. And more people, and they had aunts and uncles and cousins and second cousins and third cousins and grandparents. And this was a big family. And it started to grow really, really big and really fast. And it came to become тысячи людей в этом родстве. You know how our church, you guys know that about 25 years ago в нашей церкви было только одна или две семьи. И через время наша церковь теперь очень много людей в нашей церкви. И то же самое здесь было. В этой стране, вот этой огромной стране, была маленькая семья, и через время она росла и стала очень большой семьей. Их называли евреями. И you know what was happening is this family of Jews started to grow so big, it started to become more bigger than the Egyptians itself. It started to take more place in the whole Egypt. And the Pharaoh dies, the king dies, and then becomes a second king. He becomes very scared. He says, you know what, these Jews, they're going to become so much. There's going to be so much of them. There's going to be so many strong people. And then they're going to go ahead and attack us. And they're going to win. They're going to kill us. And then they're going to take all our land. And this king became very scared. And this is what his plan is. He had a pretty good plan, but part of the plan was not very good. This is his plan. I'm going to put a picture on the board. He decides to go ahead and pretty much enslave all these Jews, okay? These are thousands and thousands of Jews. It's one family. And he enslaves them. Он их предал в рабы. So they had to work really hard. And he thought, you know, if I make them work really hard, they're going to get super tired and they're going to become very weak. But that's not true. It doesn't work like that. Because if you go to the gym and you work out, the more you work out, the more stronger you get. So this was opposite. He thought he's going to make them weak, but the thing is, they became very strong. Чем больше они работали, the more stronger they got. The bigger the muscles they got. The more bulkier and stronger they got. And they started to grow and become more stronger, and that's what happened. And the Pharaoh, he was mad, and he's like, we're going to make them work even stronger. And we're going to make them work even more and more. And what happened is they started to grow more and more, and they started to take up more space. And that's what happened. And the king, he's like, okay, that plan doesn't work. We're going to go to another plan. И вот его следующий план. Он говорит, we need to kill all the little boys. Because if we kill all the little boys, means we're going to get rid of all the leaders that are going to come. Because little boys are going to grow up, they're going to become fathers, they're going to become strong men, they're going to become leaders who are going to take and fight and win. And he knew that. He was a smart man, but not very Christian. And he decided to kill all the boys. And this is how he decided to kill all the boys. You know, when little children are born, you go to the hospital and they get born. And the thing is, he told all the doctors, you know what? When there's going to be little boys born, you have to kill the boys. And the doctors, okay, they're scared because they have to kill children. And that's a scary thing to do. And когда рождались мальчики, они не убивали. Доктора никогда не убивали, потому что они боялись Бога. And Pharaoh, he became very angry. He's like, why are you guys not killing? I told you guys, you must kill the boys. So he decides, okay, I'm going to come out with a new law. And this is the law, that every single little boy that is born in the Jewish family must be thrown into the Nile River. Look at this. This is the Nile River. If you look into it, it's a big river. It's a scary river. Okay? In this river, there were all kinds of animals, snakes. There were all kinds of mosquitoes. There was all kinds of alligators, crocodiles. This was a scary place, a scary river. And you know the current was high, and you can get stuck in a river like that if you're a grown-up. And if a baby gets thrown into it, it means they're going to die. And Pharaoh said all the little boys have to be thrown into that river. And all the parents, when there was a little boy, they had to throw it into the river. How sad. All the mothers were crying. All the Jews, this huge family, all of them were crying. Imagine how sad it is. Even if your cousin or someone, or maybe your like second cousin's baby was thrown into the river and died, that's very, very sad. And they all had to do that except one family. One family, they had a little boy that was born, and they look at this boy, and he's very beautiful, and they don't want to throw him into the river. So this mother decided to keep the baby, как она могла. Она его хранила как могла, чтобы никто не слышал. Потому что если соседи услышат, что бебечка плачет, they can go and look. They can look out the window and see, is that a little girl crying or is that a little boy crying? Because if it's a boy, they can go to Pharaoh, и фараон их очень сильно накажет. Может быть, даже убьет. So this was a very, very serious thing. So this family decides to go ahead and keep this boy. And it was very, very scary for them. And all the neighbors could have watched this little boy and killed him. But God had a plan for this boy. God cared for this boy. He had a plan for him. And this was what was going on. After 3 months, this little boy couldn't be taken care of anymore. You know how any baby, you have to feed it, you have to play with it so it can smile and laugh, so it doesn't cry like any baby. And if you don't do any of that, he's always going to cry. Well, maybe sleep, but he's going to cry as well, and it's bad for a baby. And the thing is, this family couldn't do it anymore. И они решили взять корзинку. Мама взяла корзинку и сплела. Actually, here's the picture I forgot to show. That's the mother. She's hiding the baby. She's hiding. You can see the soldiers. They're trying to steal and maybe kill the baby. So she decides to weave a basket. Like you guys did, I think 2 Sundays ago, you guys made a basket. But this was a really strong basket Mom made. And the thing is, this basket, she had to waterproof it. She had to put this waterproof stuff so it doesn't drown. Она заасфальтировала его. Because if you just go ahead and put your baskets that you guys made 2 Sundays ago into the water, they're going to sink, okay? They're going to have water in them and stuff like that. But this is a baby. You have to keep it away from water. And Mom puts waterproof stuff. I bet she puts all this soft, maybe hay, and then she puts nice blankets inside this basket. And then she puts her baby into this basket. She covers it up and she puts it into this river. Now this river on this map is around this area. It's like around here somewhere. And she puts it, and this is what it looks like. This is the picture. She puts it into the basket, and I imagine she runs away crying. I imagine she hurries off home crying because she has to give up her own baby. All until something happens. Look at this. In this river, it was so dangerous that all these alligators, all these animals could have eaten this little boy. But God had a plan for this little boy. He could have drowned it. The basket could have got a lot of water inside. He would have drowned. But God had a plan for this little boy the whole entire time. And this is what happens. There was a princess. Pharaoh's daughter is a princess, and she's walking around this river right here, and she's bathing. She's washing herself up. It's a nice day outside, and she likes to go out into the river. And all of a sudden, in the dark, in the far, she sees this basket. She's like, "What is that?" And she calls up her she calls up her служанка и говорит служанке, иди возьми. And maybe the служанка had to swim to get it. Maybe she just walked in the water. She gets this basket, brings it to the princess, and guess what? Princess looks, and there's a baby. And that baby was this baby right here. And the thing is, this princess could have picked up this boy and said, you know what? This is a Jewish boy. You know, he's not even supposed to be alive. She could have picked him up and threw him into the water because they're not supposed to be alive. But God had a plan for this boy. У Бога был план для этого маленького малыша, и она его не убила. Как ее папа сказал, всех надо убивать, фараон, и она этого не сделала. And all of a sudden, this little boy's sister runs out of the bushes and says, you know what? I can go call his mother, and she can come and help you guys out. And the princess says, yeah, go ahead, call the mother. And the mother comes, and the princess says, go ahead, take this baby and help it grow up. And she takes the baby, and the baby grows up. And on top of that, the princess says, help the baby grow up, and I'm going to give you money for it. I'm going to give you money for doing it. Just imagine how happy the mom was. Because look, she was supposed to kill her baby. And then the princess says, no, you can keep the baby. It's okay. And I want you to keep the baby. And on top of that, I'm going to give you money for it. So the mother was super happy. She was happy, very happy. That anybody could be happy. So after time, the baby grows up. I don't know how old the baby was. Maybe 5 or 6 years old, a toddler now. She has to bring it back to the princess. And at this time, the princess, she sees the toddler, and she could have said, you know what? I changed my mind. After these years, this toddler, I don't like him anymore. I adopted a little boy, I adopted a little girl. Я больше не хочу этого мальчика. And she could have killed him there because boys weren't supposed to be alive, little boys. And God still had a plan for Moses. У Бога был план для Моисея. And she did not kill him. She took him, and he lived with the princess for many, many years. And this is what he did. She called him Moses. The princess called him Moses because she took him out of the water. And this is what he did. You see all these books? So Moses had to study many, many books. He had to study the literature, all the wisdom of Egyptian wisdom. Okay, let me give you an example. You can see the map here, not very well, but there was a map here earlier, if you scroll back to the video. This is Egypt, and this was the greatest country of all times back then. You know, like United States is a very good country today, and many, many people хотят приехать в Америку, чтобы учиться и научиться разным, to get many, diplomas and careers, and a whole bunch of, they become very smart, and they come to the United States to do that. So people will do the same thing back in Egypt, back in the day. Egypt was a great nation, very, very smart people. And that's what they would do. And there, Moses studied the greatest, the most best school ever. And you know how long he studied for? He studied for almost 40 years. That is crazy, okay? Some of you guys don't like to go to school. Some of you guys, you're like, okay, I need to go do homework, and you guys are like mad, and you don't want to do anything. But Moses had to study for almost 40 years. Every single day, open up a textbook, read, write, study. He became very, very smart. He became a very, very wise man. One of the wisest men ever, and one of the smartest men ever, okay? And that's what he did. And God had a plan for him. God's plan for Moses this whole entire time is for him to grow up a prophet, чтобы он вырос одним из самых лучших лидеров в мире. He became one of the greatest, most influential people in the world. He became the greatest leader of all. And here's a picture to demonstrate that. You can see a crowd of people following him, and there was thousands and thousands and thousands of people he led out of Egypt. He was a great, great leader. Moses was. And that was God's plan for Moses. When he was a baby, God had a plan for him. When he was put into a basket, almost eaten by crocodiles, God had a plan for him. When he was picked up by the princess, God had a plan for him. When he was studying all those books, God had a plan for him because he would need all that wisdom and knowledge to become one of the greatest leaders of all time. And I want to finish off, well, we're not too close to the finish line, but what I want to say is each one of you guys still has a plan. Well, God has a plan for you. Each one of you guys are a plan of God, okay? You guys are not an accident in the world. God cares for you, and he wants you to grow up and glorify him. The plan for God, or the plan for you from God, is so when you grow up, you become a minister of his. You can glorify him. Okay, so maybe God wants you to grow up. Maybe his plan for you, чтобы ты вырос и стал доктором. И когда ты будешь доктором, ты бы говорил людям о Христе. Ты говорил бы людям об Иисусе Христе и приводил их к Богу. Может быть, Бог хочет, чтобы когда ты вырос, ты стал пилотом, кто будет летать и привозить миссионеров в другие страны. Может быть, Бог хочет, чтобы ты стал каким-то, может быть, учителем для школы, где ты будешь говорить людям о Христе. А может, Бог хочет, чтобы ты стал или стала матерью многих детей, которых ты приведешь ко Христу. But God has a plan for you, okay? Remember that. Remember, God has a plan for you. Even though sometimes things don't make sense in life. Why do you have to go to school? Why do you have to study? Why do you have to obey your parents? It doesn't make sense, okay? But God has a plan for you. He wants you to grow up, maybe a lawyer, maybe a farmer or something like that, so that you can glorify God. That is God's plan for you. Okay, so I have a few questions for you guys. This is going to be your homework. Yeah. Homework, but I want you guys to do it. You guys probably don't have homework now since of this virus stuff going on, but this is the questions I want you guys to answer. Answer them to your parents. Have your parents ask you these questions and you answer to them. I'll ask the questions. I'll read them through. Why did all the Jewish boys have to be thrown into the river? How was Moses kept safe by God? Number 3. Какой план имел Бог для Моисея? И номер 4. Какой план Бог имеет для тебя? I want you guys to go through these questions, answer them, and answer them honestly to your parents. That will be a little reflection of what we learned here. And then, these are it's one Bible verse. These are 2 Bible verses. They're in 2 different languages, as you can see, English, Russian. You can learn them in both languages if you want, one language, but learn this Bible verse. It's very important. I'm going to read it. «Ибо только я знаю намерения, какие имею о вас, говорит Господь, намерения во благо, а не на зло, чтобы дать вам будущность и надежду». Иеремия 29:11. God is saying He has a plan for you. Even though sometimes you don't understand it, God has a plan for you. And I'm going to finish off with a little craft for you guys. It's not much of a big craft, but this is how it's done. I want you guys to get a piece of paper and get a piece of paper, maybe it's going to be a construction paper, and draw a beautiful picture in the background. It could be of the story we listened to today about Moses, or it could be just mountains, a lake, something like that. And then use a marker, a black marker, a red marker, and write out this verse. It could be Russian or English, and write it out big, and make sure you have enough space between the words. Write out the verse. And then this is what I want you guys to do. Get yourself a marker, a red marker. And this is the part that's not going to make sense first. Look, you get this marker and you start to make all these shapes. And go around the words. Don't go through the words. Go around the words. And make just any shape you want. And that's what it's going to look like at the end. Next, what I want you to do is take this paper, the little art you've done, and get your scissors, and pretty much everywhere you see a red line, I want you to go ahead and cut. Just like that. And then I'm going to do like one more. Еще один. Возьмите ножницы и вырежите везде, где вы фломастером пометили. Okay. That's what it's going to look like. And you're going to have a whole bunch of these pieces, okay? There's going to be a whole bunch of these pieces, and it's going to be a puzzle. It's going to be a big puzzle, and what your goal is to put this puzzle back together when you cut out all these pieces. And this is what it's supposed to look like at the end. I've done this beforehand, but I cut these out. You can see it's flimsy here. I cut it out, and then what I did is I put tape on the back. So that's what you can do if you want, and then you can hang this on the wall if you want to. If you've done a beautiful picture, you can cut it out and then make the puzzle and hang it on the wall, and you can learn the Bible verse like that. So now I'm going to tell you what each of these pieces represent. This is like a puzzle. This puzzle represents our life. It does not make sense sometimes. Sometimes it's like Moses' life. Each of these pieces is like when Moses was about to be killed by his neighbors, maybe crocodiles, and the princess. All of these pieces don't make sense in Moses' life. He's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But remember, God has a plan for Moses. When you put all these pieces together, when you put this piece here, and when you put this piece here, you get a big picture. You get the whole picture like this. And that is God's plan for us. We sometimes don't understand what's going on in our lives. Почему мы должны рано вставать? Почему мы должны помогать дома? Почему мы должны родителей слушаться? Но Бог имеет план для тебя. Сейчас непонятно для тебя, но в конце все будет понятно. So, I want you guys to go through these Bible verses, not Bible verses, questions, answer them to your parents, then do the puzzle and learn the Bible verse. That is your homework. And on that, let's conclude. Let's stand up where you're at, and we're going to pray. Мы помолимся, встанем для молитвы. Аминь. Господь, я славлю, благодарю Тебя, что мы могли здесь собраться, что Ты, Господь, благословил урок, что Ты, Господь, говорил к нашим сердцам. Помоги нам помнить, что Ты всегда имеешь план для нас. Хотя, может быть, мы не понимаем все для нас сейчас, но Ты все знаешь и все видишь, что Ты все для нас делаешь, чтобы мы могли славить Тебя, чтобы когда мы вырастем, мы могли прославлять Твое святое имя. Прошу Тебя, благослови всех детей, нашу церковь, чтобы мы могли славить Тебя. Тебе слава величие за все, мой Бог. Аминь. Все, с Богом.